Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Please note all of your lines have been muted to reduce any background noise, and we hope you take full advantage of the question and answer pod on your screen to ask any questions throughout the presentation. If we're unable to get to your questions, our team will follow up with you offline. This webcast is being recorded, and a link will be sent out in a follow-up email for you to view it again or share with a colleague. At the end of the webinar, PTFS will be giving away a drone. If you win, Zach Moses will shoot you an email using the one you signed up with today. Just reply with your address of where you would like the drone sent, and we'll get it shipped your way. On behalf of PTFS, AWS, and Carahsoft, I would like to welcome you to today's webinar, Harnessing Knowvation CSP for Geospatial Advancements in AI Insights. Before I introduce today's speaker panel, I'd like to tell you just a little bit about Carahsoft. Carahsoft is a government IT solutions provider delivering industry-leading technology products, services, and training to federal, state, local, and education customers on behalf of top-tier manufacturers like AWS, VMware, Palo Alto Networks, Dell EMC, and Splunk. Our contact information will be at the end of the presentation, so please don't hesitate to contact us for any of your needs. At this time, I'd like to introduce our speakers for today's webinar. John Sievert, Senior Account Executive for Knowvation and Digital Solutions. Karl Garcia, Software Engineer Manager. Sarah De La Cruz, AWS Solutions Architect. And John Yokley, President and CEO of PTFS. John, the floor is all yours.
Some of you may know PTFS, some of you may not. So in a nutshell, this is PTFS. So we're a swath of software products and services to go along with that. So today, our main focus is on that Knowvation product. And then I'm going to be focused on some of our advancements with AI, machine learning. It's hard to have technology discussions these days without mentioning that. So we've made some pretty cool strides. We have a bunch of use cases I'm going to show today. And you're going to see some other stuff on the geospatial side of the house as well. So we're going to try to cover a wide variety of topics. And yeah, so it should be a good hour for sure. And then on this slide too, I just wanted to mention that Knowvation is a complete web-based tool. It's cloud ready, cloud enabled. We do work with our cloud partners. We also have a handful of on-prem installations as well. So it's kind of flexible with that aspect of where we can deploy the system. To start, what is Knowvation for those of you that don't know? There's two different ways to deploy it. So some of our customers, like this one, for example, has a public-facing general public. Anyone can get to this. It's an open URL, and you can search on the materials that are in this system. So this is, just want to show you the front end, how it can be laid out from a high level. You have your full text search bar. You can select different collections to quickly get into. And I'm going to show you another example here. This is with San Diego County out in California, land records. So we're managing all the documents. We've integrated, you can see there's a base map in the background here. We've integrated with our GIS to bring that in. So if you can see, I can zoom in a little bit. Again, this is a public facing site, so anyone can get to it. These are all parcels. And then each of these, the green lines are parcels. And then each of these blue dots, these are documents that Knowvation's managing. And you can quickly sift through them to see how they're attached and what their geospatial relevance is to that location. Those are two kind of different examples for general public use. And then I'm going to get into some more of the internal side. But before I do that, one more kind of example that I like to bring up is this, where we can deploy a search widget on websites. So this is a demo. It's a demo of our website, our PTFS website. And this is our search bar. So this is the bar that can be deployed. It's very flexible. We can move it around to different websites if we want. And then we can configure how the display results are shown and whatnot. But so I type in a keyword and it can give me a quick list, and then we can launch into Knowvation and do further content management type of capabilities on there. So now I'm going to get into our demo site. So this will be more of the internal side of things. So Knowvation, this is our demo site. A lot of different types of content in here, a lot of different types of files, different types of records. But I think that's pretty powerful because it shows the kind of the breadth of capabilities that the system has. And for today's focus on the AI machine learning, I'm going to show you a few different scenarios. So the first one is a collection of documents that have already been cataloged. We've already processed. This is like the end of the road. So once there's data in there, there's a lot of talk these days about getting good quality data to feed these AI models. But sometimes when you come from the example of historical legacy materials that's on paper, you start with very little to no metadata. So we're leveraging AI to help us build that initial first step of metadata, and it does a really good job. We're seeing really good results as far as what it's creating and how it's generating these metadata elements for these historical records, right? So if we're able to do that, there's a lot of legacy materials that we'll look at. Other different types of content that we've done, technical reports, we've done a lot of work with those, transportation materials, intelligence documents, intelligence reports, lease agreements, there's news articles, all kinds of different things. And we're leveraging OCR capabilities to really help us dive into the documents and build that rich metadata catalog going forward. So I mentioned one example is with scanned legacy materials. I'm going to show you that in a second. I'm going to do one thing first. And then the second one is already digital objects. So things like PDFs. So now I'm going to come here. I'm going to actually load a document. So I'm going to show you some of our AI summary generator capability today. I'm going to grab, this is just on my desktop, grab this document. I know it's a 75-page PDF, and I'm just going to walk through like a day in the life. I'm going to let that upload. Again, we're live streaming, so this only happens in a matter of seconds, and you saw the bar, files uploaded successfully. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. And while that's going through the index and populating through the system, I'm going to show you another example of these historical documents. And then I'm actually going to show you how to have a dialogue with the document using that AI assistant is what we're calling it, to actually have a dialogue with documents. So from here, I'm going to type in Idaho, and this is just the collection that I'm focused on. Let me, and then I'm going to update my search filters. So now I'm actually in the Knowvation system searching on the repository. So there's a few ways to do that. We have our global search bar up top, which is like your Google search. It searches across the entire database. And then down here on the left, there's different ways to narrow your results down further. So once you make a search, facets are provided. You can also do filters, which are searching on specific metadata elements. So when I typed in Idaho Transportation Department in the collection field, it's only looking on documents that have that in that one collection line in the metadata field. A few different ways to view this data. Here's our data view. Here's a card view, and then thumbnail view. So if I go in, I'm going to open up. I'm actually going to run a search on top of this. So I'm searching now only in this one specific collection. MP 234. This is their abbreviation for how they do milepost. A few different ways to do it. Again, these were scanned legacy documents. So we started with nothing, and now we're at a pretty good point. So I'm going to go ahead and open that document. Again, live streaming, it takes a second through the web and whatnot. So I'm going to zoom in. You can see we got a hit. Some of this is handwritten, and we got a hit. This is even diagonal. Goes to show how far OCRs come. It's every day I'm testing it, and I find new things that are pretty exciting about it. So again, as I mentioned before, this is an already processed document, so we pushed it through. I'm going to show you how to do it live, but I wanted to show that all of these fields were captured using our AI assistant on upload. So we asked it to give us some metadata that we didn't have. So some important pieces, this keeps getting in my way, project number, dates, plan numbers, all this cool stuff. fertilizer types. So this is about materials. All these records here are about materials, and even mileposts. So you can see it was able to pull out this milepost because it was relevant to a milepost. And then there's even a second one, milepost 99, which you can see it just happens to be on the screen. That's up here as well. So that was an example of we already processed this, already completed. There's a bunch of other documents in here too, but today I'm going to try to stay on the path and stay focused, show you a bunch of things. And so with that, I loaded that one document a few minutes ago. That should be well unloaded by now. I'm going to go ahead. I have a nifty search. That search is on just loaded, which is nice for this. So that document is here. And I'm going to switch my view. And you can see, I'll open it too. There's no summary. So I just want to show you, we're doing this live. No summary in the metadata. Not much to it. I just loaded a blank document. This is a performance work statement from our friends over at the VA. It's a 75-page document. It's lovely. I'm sure it's a great read, but kind of a day in the life. Maybe I don't have time to go through 75 pages. Why don't I ask my AI assistant, hey, can you summarize this document for me? All right, so same thing as uploading. It was successful. So now, again, live streaming. So I'm going to let the system work and populate. So it'll have a display for me. And it'll actually have text for me to read or search on, do some metadata cataloging, things like that. So while that's updating, I'm going to clear my search. And I'm going to show you some examples from our AI assistant asking questions, like actually having a dialogue with a document. And I've actually made a list of things to cut and paste. Some of these titles are difficult to memorize, so I'm going to be cutting and pasting for the next few minutes, so just bear with me. This is a 37-page PDF about looks like a pharmaceutical trial for Fluzone quadrivalent in the Southern Hemisphere. So I'll do a quick scroll just to show you there's tables in here, there's percentages, there's all kinds of very highly technical medical information in this document. And when I come over to my ellipses here, we have our AI assistant box. And now this is a prompt. So we can talk to this like we're used to talking to those prompts. And I want to caveat, I would say I'm not a prompt engineer. I'm not a medical researcher or medical expert by any means. I'm going to plug in a handful of questions that I think might be relevant to a researcher. So the first one, back to my cut and paste pile. What are the side effects of Fluzone? Pretty generic question. Launch that off. Let's see what kind of results we get back. Okay, so it gave us an answer. It went through these 37 pages. It's got some side effects for children 6 to 35 months, 3 to 8 years, adults 18 years older. Okay, now maybe I want to get a little bit more granular. I'm going to put in another question. Oops, excuse me. What are the side effects for people older than 65? Okay, the most common side effect was pain, 33%. Who would have guessed? And then I got one more. Kind of change it up a little bit, try to trick it. Are there special effects on pregnant women? Let that populate. And we can see we get an answer, not established. Okay, that's fine. We'll come back or we'll look at another document. So that quickly, just to show you some, I know there's a broad audience in the room, but this is a pretty technical document with a lot of nuances to it and percentages and stuff, and it acted pretty quick. So, oh, and I forgot to mention in the beginning, please feel free, any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. We can get to them either throughout or towards the end of this meeting. So now that document that we loaded earlier should be well and summarized by now. So I'm going to go ahead and search again on today, and there we go. So now we have a summary that is now in a metadata database that we can do all kinds of stuff with. Again, summary is just summarize the document for me. But the capability of this can go much more than that. It can be keywords, topics, dates, people, locations, all kinds of things that we can extract out of these documents. So I don't come back in here and you can see now, instead of reading 75 pages, I can get through about a paragraph. That's a lot easier to stomach. So now I'm going to go back to another document, or this is on a document about intelligence. Now, I'm not showing an actual intelligence report, but it's a document about intelligence. It's a guide. So with this, I'm going to go ahead and open this. I'm going to test to see if our prompt, our AI assistant, can help us with intelligence. We did the medical side. We did the PWS side. Now we're going to look and see if it can help us with intelligence type of things. So my question from my cut and paste pile, what are the highlights of scientific intelligence? Scientific intelligence is known as MASINT. Okay, so great. So it went through this document was actually 114 pages, and now it's able to give me back an answer. And then I can go back through and do some further research on it. And similar to the medical document, we can go through, ask more granular questions. I'm going to paste that in. What are the parameters for somebody with a security clearance? It's kind of specific. Access to classified information, background investigation, all this is pretty familiar to those that are in this world. Let's see, and I'll drop one more in here, and then I'm going to move on to the next topic. How does intelligence help situational awareness? So more of a broad question, but again, it's a dialogue with this one particular document. And here we get a pretty lengthy, detailed response here. So right in the middle, intelligence can enhance situational awareness by collecting, processing, integrating, all this great stuff. That's a pretty good answer if you need a summary. So again, the capabilities of this is really cool. We're looking at it from these two use cases as far as the AI goes, but we're continuing to evolve. We have a few more in the hopper that we're looking at, and I'm also kind of curious to see what use cases other folks in the room might be looking at to see how Knowvation might be able to support those as well. So that's my part on the AI. Bear with me. I'm going to swap, and I'm going to show a quick use case of another live example when it comes to machine learning. So the second part of that AI ML. So our approach to machine learning from a content management perspective is through document classification. So being able to classify documents makes a lot of sense for a court system. That's why this use case made so much sense. They have thousands and thousands of documents. Not sure what the type of document is. So using machine learning, human in the loop, assisted, all those to help get this giant collection of documents classified the correct way helps us to determine what type of workflow that document needs. Now, for courts specifically, everyone is familiar, I'm sure, with court system, and their purpose in life is to enforce law, right? They need to do the paperwork for the law. So being able to correctly categorize and catalog these documents is really important. This here is an example of what the human would see, the human in the loop aspect of a computer classified document. So Knowvation made its best guess at classifying this as a bench warrant. Now, since it was scanned, whatever the reason is, the confidence level fell into the parameter that we tuned it to. We can tune the confidence level to whatever number we want. If we want to check 50%, or if we want to check even at 100%, if it's 100% accurate, we still want to get eyes on it, at least up front. We can still do that. And then from here, the user can decide, yes, this is correct, no, it's not correct, and update it from there. And as it gets updated, the machine learning will learn as it goes to improve that confidence level. So if you can see here, I apologize for the small font, but there's this is Knowvation behind the scenes internal Only the clerks can see this. And you can see there's a confidence level, a confidence rating. And that's how we can quickly sift through to see what the focus is. So this one's 10% confidence. We definitely want to get eyes on that. This one's 100%. Maybe we don't need to spend human resources trying to figure that one out when we can spend it on the 10%. Now, we use the machine learning to determine what the classification of the document is. Why do we do that? One of the reasons is to determine what type of automated AI-assisted redaction we want to put it through. So using AI, we can help find different keywords, different phrases, and correlations between text. And depending on the type of document, this use case asked us to either block out specific terms. So this one, you can see there's a green, there's a rule there. There's another red one. I know it's red on red. It's hard to see. But there's another red one. That's another rule that required a redaction. And if those are in the same paragraph, you have to redact the whole paragraph. So that's what the rule was. And the classification helped us get to that final ruling. And now this is the human part where they see they can confirm, redact that, move on to the next one. And then in addition to support this, we kept a library, of all of the different document classification types. Admins can come in, quickly modify, adjust, add, new, etc. to the overall list of classifications. So that was the extent of my presentation. Thank you, and please feel free to drop your questions in the chat. And I'm going to pass it off. Karl is next. He's going to talk about how all this stuff fits together in the architecture.
Thanks, John. How you guys doing? I'm Karl Garcia. My main role here is to lead our engineering team for Knowvation at PTFS. So let me share you guys. So here you can see our architecture diagram for Knowvation Content Services Platform. This platform we have represents a leap forward in intelligent management and discovery of information. Knowvation can input diverse data sources, as you can see here on the left. It seamlessly integrates using web services, databases, SharePoint, AutoCAD, shared drives. And one of our differentiators is our ability to discover unstructured data in all types of repositories by crawling and then creating an federated index. So John showed you uploading a doc earlier, but when we're set up in your system, we have the crawl process, which autonomously navigates through various data repositories, diligently identifying and retrieving desired information. So our crawl process is the first step in our data discovery process, right? To ensure that no information is untapped. So once the disparate data is discovered, the crawl process, through the crawl process, it is then indexed. So our indexing capability uses Solr, and our platform provides classification and categorization processes to help transform that raw information into knowledge and actionable intelligence. So, now that data can be searched and retrieved, we provide an option to ingest, and ingestion is required when the data needs to be protected for digital preservation or records management purposes, right? For situations where the data being managed in other systems like SharePoint, or it's petabytes of data, too much data, like with satellite imagery, we likely will decide not to ingest. And so, using federated indexing, where the data is ingested and indexed in place, Knowvation provides a one search finds all solution to allow the user to have access and understand the total corpus of their organization's data. John showed you that interface to kind of do all that, right? So with this unified search experience, granting users insight to their organization's entire data landscape. So this is crucial for accurate analytics and informed decision-making. So what we have here, once it's in there, right, the storage provides the home for the ingested data. The metadata and custom configuration for the customers, right, will be in the database, and we're very flexible, right? So we support a range of databases, MySQL, Postgres, SQL Server, to name a few. For the physical files, we utilize cloud efficiencies like, say, Azure Blob Storage or Amazon S3, or even a hybrid solution with your local file system storage. So to make sure your data is secure, but still readily accessible. So as you can see in the architecture diagram, we have several options to access the data housed here in Knowvation. It includes web services integration via APIs. And we have a suite of APIs that you can then access through the GUIs. So let's talk about two of our services. As you guys know, the hot topic for the past year is AI. So with our AI services, we integrate with other APIs like OpenAI's ChatGPT or Amazon's Recognition and TextTrack, for example. John showed you some of these earlier, some of these AI services that we connect to and do. We also have built-in categorization and intelligent entity extraction provided natively. And we're working on our own local large language models too. So that's part of our lab's work. And then the other service I want to talk about is the search services. And this is common with the library systems, right? So the library standards like OGC REST API, OAI PMH, Z3950, we have those standards available. We can ensure interoperability and compliance. But for most of you, you'll be navigating all these features, as you saw, through our Knowvation portal. And this is served by a UI web server. So we have simple, intuitive interface that makes accessing the data easy and efficient. So as you can see, this whole Knowvation is not just a regular system. It's a full open source content services platform that provides you guys the intelligent document processing. You can find, process, and analyze your organization's data. So with that, I'm ready to stop the share and hand it off to Sarah.
Thanks, Carl. And thank you everyone for being here today and stopping by to speak with us. So I'm gonna go ahead and start my screen share. Perfect. All right, and I'm gonna turn up my video as well just to allow for bandwidth there. And I'll go ahead and share my screen. So again, thank you everyone for being here and giving me a chance to speak with you and dive into some of the AI and ML services that AWS offers and how we partner with PTFS. So to get started, you have been hearing the term generative AI, and it's kind of taken the world by storm because you've been able to interface with it through customer-facing applications like ChatGPT and really experience how powerful the latest machine learning models have become. And while a lot of attention has been given to how consumers are using generative AI, we think at AWS, it is an even bigger opportunity in how businesses will use it to deliver amazing experiences for their customers and employees. The true power of AI goes beyond just a simple search engine or a chatbot, and it will transform every aspect of how companies and organizations operate. Just to give a simple quote, the potential of AI is incredible, with Goldman Sachs forecasting a 7 trillion increase in global GDP and lift productivity growth by 1.5 percentage points over a 10-year period. So with so much potential, why is this technology, which has been percolating for decades, seeing so much interest now? And it has reached tipping point. The convergence of not only technological process, but also the value that it can bring and what can accomplish. So with this massive proliferation of data, the availability of highly scalable compute capacity, and the advancement of ML technologies over time, Gen AI has finally taken its shape. So I'm gonna dive a little deeper here into how it actually works. So traditional forms of machine learning allowed us to take, as you see on my screen here, simple inputs like numeric values and map them to simple outputs like predicted values. With the advent of deep learning, we could take complicated inputs like videos or images and map them to relatively simple inputs like identifying an object in an image. And now, with generative AI, we can leverage massive amounts of complex data to capture and present knowledge in more advanced ways, mapping complicated inputs to complicated outputs, and doing things like extracting summary and key insights from a large document. Now, let's take a look at differences from a model point of view. Traditional ML models used architectures that required months of costly and manual data preparation, data labeling, and model training, all to produce a model for one specific task, as many of you may already know. The large models that power Gen AI applications, called foundation models, are driven by the transformer-based neural net architecture that cuts down on this development process significantly. This architecture enables models to be pre-trained on a massive amount of unlabeled data so that they can be used for a wide variety of generalized tasks. And they can be easily adapted for particular domains or industries with relatively small amounts of labeled data. And this customization process is known as fine-tuning. So one thing that's important to note here is at its core what Gen AI really is. And it is leveraging the latest advances in machine learning. It's not magic, but it is the latest evolution of technology that's been evolving. So while we see it happening everywhere, there are specific industries that are meaningfully impacted, such as healthcare and life sciences, the financial services, and the public sector, where you can use it for label detection, text summarization, medical transcripts, to give you a few examples. So with all of this, our customers have asked us how they can quickly take advantage of what is out there today and what is likely coming tomorrow to quickly begin using these foundational models and generative AI within their business and organizations. They do this in order to drive new levels of productivity and transform their offerings. So we identified those important considerations quickly and began to build and deploy Gen AI applications at scale. So what I have here is our full ML stack. We have a variety of fully managed services to deliver the broadest and deepest set of machine learning capabilities. And this is done in mind with builders of all levels and expertise. At each layer of the stack, we're investing in moving the heavy lifting so that your teams can move and deliver faster. So as you see here at the top layer of our AI services, which allows developers to add intelligence to any application without needing ML skills, the pre-trained models provide ready-made intelligence for your applications and workflows to help you do things like personalize the customer experience, things such as forecast business metrics, translate conversations, and extract meaning from documents. At the middle layer here is Amazon SageMaker, which provides every developer and data scientist with the ability to build, train, and deploy machine learning models at scale. What SageMaker does is it removes the complexity from each step of the ML process and the ML workflow, so you can easily deploy your machine learning use cases. Anything from predictive maintenance to computer vision to predicting customer behaviors. And you can also bring your own models. We also have foundation, jumpstart foundational models with SageMaker using generative AI that you can take advantage of. At the bottom layer, expert practitioners can develop on the framework of their choice as a managed experience in SageMaker or use AWS deep learning AMIs. These are fully configured. They all have the latest versions in the most popular deep learning frameworks and tools. One of the services we're going to talk about today, and I'm actually going to do a demo of this in a little bit here, is Amazon Recognition. And this is a fully managed service that extracts information and labels images and video. So here are just some examples of the capabilities that we're going to see in a few minutes. Content moderation, is it something that's suitable to be seen by users? Celebrity recognition, detecting a face and analyzing that face. We also have live streaming video and detection of events within that video. Amazon Bedrock is is our foundational model. It's a fully managed service that offers different foundation models from leading AI companies like A121 Labs, Anthropic, Coherent, and Meta, along with a broad set of capabilities that you need to build Gen AI applications. It simplifies development while also maintaining privacy and security. And just to mention here, you can easily experiment with all of this variety of top foundational models. You can customize them privately using your data techniques such as fine-tuning in RAG or retrieval augmented generation, and create managed agents that execute complex tasks. So here is a list of the choice of foundational models that you have through Amazon Bedrock. So we do have the addition of Meta as a model provider on Bedrock. And Meta is we recently introduced Llama 2 as one of our foundation models as well. So while they're incredibly powerful, and they have a robust understanding of natural language, they do require manual programming to complete complex tasks like booking or processing a document. And that's because out of the box, foundation models are not able to access up-to-date knowledge sources like recent company specific data. And this is where something like PTFS takes advantage of those APIs in conjunction.
Yeah, whatever. The AI one, I don't think we yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was there a question? All right. Where was I? Let's see here. So it's not out of the box, but we do partner with TFS in order to bring you the best and latest capabilities. And this is just a little more information about how to fine tune. So here your data is the differentiator for Gen AI. One of the most important capabilities of Bedrock is how easy it is to customize model and tailor it to your business, your data, and your products. You can fine tune foundation models by providing a few hundred label examples and pointing Bedrock to that data set. This makes it possible to create an accurately customized model for a specific problem. And when it comes to security, we need to make sure that all of your data is kept private and secure, and that none of your data is used to train any underlying model. That is why all the data is encrypted and does not leave your virtual private cloud or your VPC. So when a customer wants to customize the base foundational model with Bedrock, the customer-specific data is used to train a separate copy of that base FM. So with that being said, I'm gonna jump over to a quick demo of Amazon Rekognition. We talked about label detection in models. So as you can see here, we have a picture, and within the picture, Rekognition has already identified that there is a person. It's identified several things here: a car, a wheel, and it's even identified it all the way down the street in this picture. We can see that it's identified the shoe of the person as well. When you search for a label, you get the results in a confidence score. So based on this picture, the model thinks there's a 99.9% confidence of this being a neighborhood in an urban setting. There is a city, it's a city somewhere, a road, and there is a street. As you can see here, you do the request. There's the image located in an S3 bucket, which is our object storage, and the bucket name and the associated image name. The response you get is in a JSON format, and it's in a type of an array, and you have it labeled as name, and then the confidence each asset that is categorizing within that picture. You also get image moderation. So go ahead and view the content. So you can see a family here. If we want to, you can blur that content, and the request is the same. You point it to an asset, and it gives you the moderation and its labels. So for example, if we did not get a response here, because there was nothing wrong with this photo. It's just a simple picture of a family enjoying their day. But this might be perceived as something that needs a second look. And so it is a picture of a model doing yoga at a beach. And so as you can see here on the moderation levels, the reason why it was flagged is because it's a female in swimwear underwear, and it can be perceived as suggestive in has revealing clothing. Some other capabilities are facial analysis. Again, with the confidence score, the request is made to that S3 bucket, and a response is the same with JSON, a JSON object and an array with the different categories. And from you can see here, it looks to be like a face, 99.9% confidence score. It appears to be female, and it gives us an age range. We also see facial comparison between an individual and an individual comparing to like different faces, even if it's a different image. You can take a look here, and same for the request and the response. We also have celebrity recognition, so we can with a confidence of 99.7%, we can identify that this is Jeff Bezos. And this is Andy Jassy. You can also identify text and image. So here the text is not handwritten. It's part of an ad, but you can see that it's categorized it as "It's Monday, but keep smiling." And you can see the request for the picture and the response. And it has labeled the bounding box of where each word is situated on here as well. You can also leverage recognition for things like personal protective equipment, where we can take a picture and based on the input of what is required. So let's say, for example, hand cover is required. It will identify each individual to see if they do have that hand or that head cover. And you can identify the person individually. So if we're identifying this individual, we do see that there's a head cover, there's a face cover, but there is no hand cover. And as far as video, we do have stored video analysis. So for this, there is no sound, but I'm gonna go ahead and play it. So we see here that there's 43 results. There's 2 people within the video. They've been identified as celebrities, and the model has identified 39 objects and activities. So let's say, for example, it's already classified them down here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and select a person. And once I select a person, you can see in the video where it has identified the clips of where there is a human. Within each section. So let's say I just want to identify Werner Vogels. So as you can see here, this is just Jeff Bezos. So it did not take me there. It took me right to where Mr. Werner actually showed up within the video. And you can also identify streaming videos. So here we have a video of someone dropping off an Amazon package. And as you can see, the model has already detected that there's a person in a package. And as the video is going through, it's creating a summary for us. So you can see the request here, max duration 12 seconds, and it's given us a summary of everything that it's identified, an event ID. The processing was fully complete. It's using a services called Kinesis. And using all this, it has labeled what was dropped off a package, and it was a success. And we can do this for different types of videos and different types of settings. And you can see as it's going, it's detecting live through the stream what is happening in labeling that video. This also, like I mentioned, different settings. It can be nighttime. It'll still detect. So it detected an animal, a pet, within the video, and an individual at nighttime coming up to the door. So with that, that concludes the presentation and the demo for recognition in AI/ML services. So I am going to stop sharing. Thank you. And I will pass it over to John.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm going to quickly cover one topic at least, and possibly two topics, which include geotagging Knowvation auto geotagging tools, and if time, a few use cases. So we're going to cover 6 ways to geotag with Knowvation GS. We're going to go right into it very quickly, and we're going to go ahead and do a search. And let's see here. So this is a photograph. This is the first way, which is extracting geospatial information from the metadata. And so this is a photograph that I, in fact, took a long time ago when we were on a cross-country trip, and Route 66 goes all the way across the country. So this is illustrating 2 concepts. One, we OCR the image. So you can see in the metadata over here, there's no Santa Monica. So the way that I got a hit on this thing is on this particular photograph is by OCRing the image and searching for Santa Monica. But the second thing is my cell phone had its GPS turned on, and we're automatically extracting all the data that we can out of the files that we ingest. And if it has a little globe on either on the hit list or on the document itself, you can click on it, and lo and behold, there is where I took the picture. Now, we believe that Knowvation is the only content management product that provides auto geotagging tools to make non-geospatial files like PDFs and videos searchable geospatially, combining that with AI. Once tagged, why this is important is once they're tagged, traditional text and metadata searches can be limited to a geospatial area of interest. And there's all kinds of use cases for that I likely won't have time to get into today. But what I'm going to do is just show a couple of geotagging capabilities. So the first one I'm going to show is I've saved a search in the interest of time. I can run that search and I get a document. Now, this document is from the National Transportation Safety Board, and it's about a crash on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge where a tractor trailer pushed a car over the bridge. So it was a pretty serious crash. And what they wanted to do was figure out, okay, so where was the driver and where did he go before that? And there's a table in here that automatically shows you where the driver that shows you where the driver went. And what we're going to do is we're going to extract locations out of that particular tag. And so if I extract these locations, you can control click and click on them. And I'm not going to do this because I already did it. So we went to Culpeper, Virginia, Washington, Annapolis, Newark, and so forth. And you can click geotag, and you can see it puts those points in the metadata automatically. And then if I click on this here, it shows you on the map where that particular driver went to. And of course, if you scroll down, you can see where you can even scroll down and see where the endpoint was, where the car went across the bridge. So the next one I'm going to do is I'm going to actually show a video. So I'll search for this bad guy. And I always spell this wrong. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to show a video. This illustrates a couple things too. In the video, we performed speech to text. So we converted the audio from the speaker, from this reporter, we converted it to text automatically. You can see where we got hits for al-Baghdadi on the text. But more interestingly, what we can do also is extract information about what countries the reporter was reporting about. And so if I go to geotag and I go to entity and change it to extract countries, I can do that and say extract. And it says Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, and Iran. And I'll quickly go to the map and show you that it used to have four dots for Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and Iran, where they were automatically geotagged and put into the metadata out of our product that we built. So the next one that I'm going to show, the next geotagging capability is visual, using the mouse to geotag without having to key any information in. So I'm going to search. You can either go to the advanced search or go back to the beginning, but I'll search for this, and I'll bring up a photograph of the house. And what we want to do is plot on the map the location of the property. And so in the interest of time, I can drill down to the map and show where it is, or I can go over here and I can just enter in the property address to get me there. And click on it, and it zooms me in, and then I can take this off. And the objective is to draw a polygon around where the property is. And you can see that I've already done it, but just to illustrate it, I'll draw one on the outside of it here. And so I've already done this particular one once. And if you look over here in the metadata, you will see that there's a polygon drawn in the metadata. And I automatically did this by using this polygon tool, turning it on, drawing it here, and double clicking on the last time. It draws a polygon around the outside. I click geotag. I won't do it again. And then we can zoom down and see the property that we've outlined with our visual tool without typing or doing anything. The next one I'm going to show, and I know I'm going really fast here, but I'm going to try to end up with a couple minutes left for questions today. The next one that I'm going to do is to geotag with grabbing numerical information. And so I'll search for actually, I'm going to search in the title this time, because I got a lot of stuff on IEDs to make it easier. IED briefing. And so I'll go ahead and search in the title. I got one document that comes up. This is a sample unclassified document of locations where IEDs were found in Iraq, and they got pictures of the IED, and they also put the latitude, longitude of them. And we can go over to our tool here. Sorry. We can go over to our tool and say geotag, and we can go to entity, and we can say extract coordinates. And once you do that, it extracts all the coordinates. You can see some of the text is in Arabic. You can click on geotag, which is what I've already done, and you'll see a whole bunch of points over here in the metadata that it's extracted out of this document. And let's just show it on the map. And interestingly enough, most all the IEDs were along this particular road that you see there. And the last, the sixth way of geotagging that I'm going to show you today is with an address. If you know an address, and we'll just do a search for surfing in Santa Monica. I have a couple kids that surf. And so we have a video here we're playing. We're going to go ahead and play that. Let me turn the volume down because it's loud. And if you know where it is, but this is a video that doesn't have geospatial information, you can type in place names. And so we'll go ahead and we'll say, okay, so You can go ahead and type in place names. And this was in Lighthouse Field, the beach. And you can see I find it there with my gazetteer. I automatically zoom down to it. It puts in this case, it's a point. And and then when I say geotag, it just puts the point in the geometry. And of course, I can go to the map and see where that is on the map as well. There's where the surfers were. So I don't have time now to go back and talk about my my use cases, but I will just tell you that Knowvation has it's a very horizontal product. We have lots of use cases in emergency response, intelligence operations, agriculture, real estate, on and on and on. And we'd love to talk to anybody that is interested going on here. And so in the time that we have left, let's try to answer some questions. Who's going to moderate that, and how we're going to do that?
Yeah, definitely. So we had a couple questions come in from the audience. One is, did PTFS create their own AI engine with the LLM, or PTFS is using a third-party product?
Both. We use third-party, of course. The demo that John showed you, we use ChatGPT and we use AI tools, and we're creating our own stuff as well. We won an SBIR a couple of years ago to add AI, and we actually completed the beta test of that SBIR about 3 or 4 months before ChatGPT was released. So we were luckily working on AI about the same time as all the other folks, even though the world has done some amazing things. Yes, next.
Awesome. And then the next question here is, for the AI data generation functions with Knowvation, does the data that is utilized to generate summaries and other search results get stored anywhere externally from the system? And additionally, is the data that is generated by the AI stored elsewhere?
No, the data the demo that you saw is all on data that's stored inside of Knowvation itself. So the answer is no. We know that lots of government organizations have this issue. And of course, the problem with a lot of the large language models is that that the data, or at least the searches, have to go outside. And of course, that doesn't work, especially in the classified environment. Now, the downside is you have to do training so on the models that we build. So we don't usually build the models, but we do have to do training to make them work.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
and then
thank you.
just to piggyback on that, so like the summaries that I showed, those are stored locally. They're not leaving the system. They're in the Knowvation database. So anything that's generated.
Awesome. Thank you both.